Still Alice stars Julianne Moore and is a story about a woman who discovers that she has very early Alzheimer's. And this is a very smart woman. She's a teacher. She feels a lot of pride about the things she's able to accomplish in her life. And all of these things make it very difficult for her when she starts to realize that she's forgetting very small things in her life. Her daughter is played by Kristen Stewart, who's also having a very hard time adjusting to this. Obviously. This is a very heartbreaking movie at times, filled with excellent performances all around. I really did like this movie, despite the fact that there are aspects of it that do come off a little bit like Oscar bait. There are times where movies just come out in like 2 theaters, or maybe even 1 theater at the end of December, simply to be Oscar qualified. And then finally, like in the middle of January or even in February, people can suddenly see this movie. But I'm really pleased to say that Julianne Moore's work in this movie is very subdued. It's not showy. It's not like, hey, look at me, I'm an actress, I'm gonna cry and moan and bawl throughout this entire movie. She actually gives a very nuanced performance that feels very level-headed. And what I mean by that is nothing about her performance screams, look at me. She's so famous at this point that it's hard to not see Julianne Moore. But in this movie, she sunk so deep into this character, and she gave such a realistic portrayal of what it would be like for a woman who is entirely about her brain. I mean, this woman lives by the fact that she is so smart, that she's able to teach students, and that she is just really good at everything she does. And the fact that her most precious asset, her brain, is now failing her is truly heart-wrenching, and Julianne Moore did a tremendous job portraying that. Also, I really do want to focus on Alec Baldwin. Now, I've liked this guy for years as an actor. He's hilarious. He's given good performances since like the late 80s and early 90s, but I was concerned about his character and the way they were going to take him once her Alzheimer's sets in. Are they going to do all these cliches they tend to do with the nasty husband? I was so pleasantly surprised to actually see a portrayal of a good husband in a movie, and that was awesome because I'm so used to these cliches where as soon as one character is suddenly going through a hardship, the mate or the spouse has to run out on them. It was so nice to see a well-rounded and realistic portrayal of a husband dealing with something that's now happening to his wife in a good way, in a positive way, because there's tons of real-life human beings out there who deal with this on a daily basis, and tons of fathers and mothers and daughters and sons who continuously support these individuals, but those are rarely ever portrayed in movies because those types of relationships are more boring. There's not as much drama there. Still, Alice was like, who cares? We're gonna show a family that tries to support this woman without a whole bunch of random shitty drama, and I love that about this movie. Now, as for flaws, I already mentioned there are some moments where this movie feels a little bit Oscar baity, where they have these really long, drawn-out conversations about not much really. And there are some times where the movie drags because it feels like they're repeating certain scenes over and over again. And I'm not just talking about the fact that she as a character has to do the same thing sometimes because she forgets. What I'm referring to is that sometimes the film makes a point and you're like, okay, I get it. But then they keep kind of hitting you over the head with it throughout the movie and you're like, I get it. I get the theme you're going for. Let's move on to a different thing now. These are all really minor complaints though, because the movie as a whole is just a great character piece, and it's a great performance by Julianne Moore. Guys, I'm gonna give Still Alice a B+. It does feel a little Oscar baity at moments, but Julianne Moore's work in this movie is so good that it is definitely worth seeing, and I love the portrayal of realistic characters in a family attempting to deal with something this tragic, and that is definitely praiseworthy. Guys, if you did see Still Alice, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.